All right, well, let's kick this off. First and foremost, thank you all for joining. It's so exciting to see how many folks registered and watching the number of attendees just continuing to jump up is really exciting. Welcome to our second What's New in CoreLogic Restoration. We did our first one in September of last year, and it was a little bit of a trial. Wanted to see who was interested to listen to us chat about our products, and we got a ton of great feedback. So our plan going forward, so that everyone is aware, is we will host 2 to 3 of these every year until such time as they're not useful anymore. One of those is a in-person or live session at our Interconnect conference where we go through a roadmap session. And of course, a number of our product managers are on site to chat with you all in the hallways. So if you didn't get to attend Interconnect in Austin this year in January, I strongly suggest you consider it for LA in January 2025. It's quite the event to remember. And definitely, if you enjoy this, hopefully we get to chat with you more soon. Let me jump to what we're going to talk about today. So, of course, we'll do some introductions, and I'll tell you all the fine faces that are joining me here. And then we're going to get into the meat of this and talk about 3 of our restoration products. So first, Dash, and specifically our mobile photos beta. James will talk about that. Restoration CRM, formerly known as Luxor. Mars will talk about our workflow automation. And then Clark will close it out with Restoration Mitigate, formerly known as Mika. So Mitigate is what's replacing Mika. And then we'll turn it back over to me just for some quick closing comments. So for the folks that are on the call, let me introduce you to a couple of members of my team. Of course, my name is Caitlin Rios. I am the VP of Product for all of our restoration solutions. So any restoration solution that you are likely using with a CoreLogic logo on it does roll up to me in some form or fashion. James Barker is our Manager of Product Management on the Restoration Dash suite. Mars McLean is our Senior Product Manager on our Restoration CRM tool. And Clark Hawkins is our Senior Product Manager on our Restoration Mitigate product. And if you're kind of questioning, like, what is this thing about Mitigate and CRM? Why aren't we talking about Luxor? As soon as this slide wants to move to the next slide, heads up that we are rebranding. So if you haven't heard, we are moving away from the former names of our products and moving into something that is hopefully a little bit more straightforward and understandable for those that are coming into this and seeing these names for the first time. I won't go through all of them today. We can always host another session on that in the future, but understand that CoreLogic Restoration is made up of a number of products. And specifically what we're talking about today is right there at the top, CoreLogic CRM, which was formerly known as Luxor, CoreLogic Mitigate, formerly known as Mika. So the Mika tool that's in the market today, there's a brand new tool that will be fully rebranded with Mitigate here coming out shortly. And then CoreLogic Dash, the Dash name is not changing, but you might see CoreLogic Dash, Restoration Dash, some of those names in front of it. Okay. And I did also want to touch very quickly on a couple of our roadmap themes. Now, not everything that we work on is going to roll up into one of these 4 themes, but these are the 4 big rocks that we think about the most. And I'll explain each one here. So core job documentation, that's the ability for all of you every day out in the field to be entering notes, photos, completing your mitigation readings, etc. So a lot of what we'll talk about today is actually within that core job documentation section. Okay. CoreLogic product interoperability. Interoperability is a fancy word to say help these tools work more seamlessly together. If you have been on pretty much any call with me in the last year, you will probably have heard me say the main objective that we're really thinking about, that I think about more than anything else, is keep a WaterMit technician in mitigate 100% of the time for 90% of claims. Okay, so we know that there's going to be claims out there that are just a little bit weird and we need extra information and you might have to jump out of mitigate. But our goal is ultimately to keep that WaterMit tech in mitigate essentially all the time, right? Except for those weird claims. The first step in doing so is getting mitigate out the door. So Clark's going to talk to us about that today. The third one on that list, not in any order in particular, is connecting the industry. We do a lot of that through the creation of APIs and starting to pull in partnerships. You'll start to see more of that coming out later this year as well. Not much to talk about on that today, just a heads up. So maybe another session we'll talk more about that section in the future. And then last but not least, automation and AI. We could always go into, an hour-long discussion about what's the difference between the two and how are they similar. But just know that we will talk quite a bit today through our CRM tool that Mars is going to show regarding automation and workflow. And then from an AI perspective, we use AI in a number of our decisions, our productivity opportunities, but we also are using AI in some ideas that are coming out. And for those of you who joined us at Interconnect, thank you to everyone that gave us some suggestions and ideas in our feedback sessions for some of our proof of concepts that we showed off. To be honest, that was probably my favorite part of Interconnect, getting that feedback because it made some significant changes for us to our roadmap. So just a couple of housekeeping that you may have heard me if you joined a little early. Excuse me. If you do have questions, go ahead and add those to the Q&A section of Zoom. We will, if we have time at the end, we will start to answer some of those questions. If we can't answer all of them, no worries. We will answer them through email after. Okay. And I mentioned feedback a few times. We truly love feedback, whether it's about this session, about our products, etc. If you're not aware, you'll hear me plug this all the time. Please join our AHA portal. It's where that you can give us direct feedback about our products. If you have an idea that you think would be really useful to see in the product, share it with us. Let us know. You can also search to see if somebody else has already had that same idea and vote on that same thing. You'll see there in the background photo labeling and ability to copy notes. You'll have noticed that those are a couple of things that we released over the last few years. And we absolutely look at these votes and understand who's really interested in this to help guide our roadmaps. Okay. All right, enough of me talking. I know that you really are here to see some demos and some interesting things. So I'm about to turn it over to James. Just a heads up that we are going to be switching who is sharing screens. So give us just a second as we transition, but otherwise I'll turn it over to James to talk about Dash mobile photos.
Welcome everybody, and again, thanks for all the attendees. This is a huge turnout, and we really appreciate you being here. As Caitlin mentioned, my name is James Barker. I am most recently manager of product management, overseeing the Dash products, and excited to be in that role and seeing how we can improve those products as the year goes on. And excited to show off one today that we've been working on, and that is our Dash mobile photo solution. For those that are on the call that are familiar with the Dash product, you know that's our where we do a majority of the documentation for all jobs. It's the hub of activity for all jobs, and part of that is ensuring that those jobs are documented in the appropriate way. A big portion of that is ensuring that we capture photos in an efficient, reliable, and fast way while on site, so we can have that good, rich documentation when it comes down to justifying the things that we do on the job. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We have recently completely rebuilt from the bottom up our mobile photo solution in the Dash mobile app. For those on the call that have used it in the past, I'm sure that you're excited to hear that. It's been on our docket for a long time, and we're glad to have it in the state that we have it today, and we will be glad to be promoting this to the app stores here in the next couple of weeks. At the end of this call, you will have the opportunity to join the beta group for this as well. We are accepting all individuals who currently use Dash to join that beta. You may have seen some emails come from us around that as well. So just look forward to onboarding you to that place. But essentially what we wanted to do is we wanted to make this solution for photos fast, reliable, and simplify it down to the point to where you don't have to learn how to use Dash just to upload photos into Dash. So they're now updated to editable file names. There's no longer a series of letters and numbers for your file names. We'll kind of show that off in the demo. You can quickly flow from one album to the next without having to go back to an album. We have tag management now for photos in the mobile app, along with the automated tags that are generated through image analytics, and we'll show that off as well. Also, photos now sync in the background. No more waiting for photos to sync. No more sitting on a job or coming back and syncing 20 at a time. It all kind of just happens in the background, and it's a much more fast and robust experience. So a little bit about our beta. We've been in beta for a few months now. We currently have 245 individuals on iOS. That number's grown since I last updated this. I think we're at the 260 range now, and 56 Android. Again, we accept all onecomers to this beta. We want to make sure that we have as much testing out in the field and real world scenarios as we can before launching this product. But 245 and 56 is a pretty good number to kind of start with. In that beta process, we've also run NPS surveys throughout the life cycle of the beta. There's 2 questions that are being asked. You'll be asked 2 similar questions today. But before you began using the mobile beta, how likely would you have been to recommend Dash? Then after using the beta, how likely would you have been to recommend Dash? We saw a major spike in that NPS score from one version to the other, and that's pretty cool for only updating one of the many features in the Dash mobile app. But this one is a pretty big portion of what people do in our app today. So with that being said, we'll get into the live demo now. I'm going to drag my phone over here. This is a live demo. This is not a recording. This is me showing my phone, and hopefully this will be pretty impressive in the updates that we've made here for our mobile solution. So what you see on the screen now is our Dash mobile app. We're in the context of a job, and more specifically within the context of an album within that job. You can see I have 3 photo albums here. This is what our new view looks like. You can see the album name clearly, the count of photos in that album, some manual sync options for when that may be needed, and then a big blue plus button at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen that allows you just to upload a photo. So if I click the big blue plus button, I get 2 options. I get an option to add a photo or add an album. Really, there's no need for that add album button anymore. We kept it there because we didn't want to move too much cheese as part of this. So it is there, but we're going to go directly into add a photo. When we do that, you see the opportunity here to also add an album. So there's the 3 albums I already have. I'm going to go ahead and create a new album here. We're going to name this album Demo. And then we're going to save that album. So now I'm ready to upload photos. So what you're seeing is my desk, and there's the presentation in presentation mode on my computer. We're going to take a picture outside of my window here in a little gloomy but good spring day in Pope, Mississippi. As you can see, I'm taking photos as we're talking. There's now 4 photos staged to be ready to be uploaded. We're going to take a bit of a risk here because we have confidence in this product, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to upload a bunch of photos too. So the first you saw there are mitigation photos, and then you just see my camera roll. So really exposing myself here for you guys as you kind of peer into my life and see a lot of screenshots of Dash and animals and flowers and things like that. So photos are being primed now to upload. There we go. Now there's 104 photos staged and ready to go into Dash. Thanks. Yeah, they are cute cats. So we'll go ahead and hit done now. This is going to take us to our staging area, what we call our staging area. This is where you can go through and add descriptions to these photos. There will be other opportunities to make edits to these photos in the future. So this is phase 1 of our photos rebuild. This is the place where you'll be able to mark up those photos in the future and make other edits to them. Right now, the only thing you can really do is apply a description. So we'll call this one demo. If my fingers weren't so fat, I'm going to apply that to all and hit save. So now that is on all photos. I can scroll through down here on the bottom and see all the photos I uploaded, but that can be kind of tedious if you've uploaded a bunch of photos. So if you tap these little three dots, it'll kind of give you this preview panel to where you can update more photos, and we'll say this is water damage. So we're going to edit this description for water damage. So this is a step you can take or don't have to take, but ultimately this is what we call our staging area. So then when I hit upload, this is when the photos are actually moving over to Dash, and just like that, those photos are in the upload process, and I can move on to my next room. So while those are finishing the upload process, if I wanted to, just moving from room to room, for example, I could click on this little icon down here at the bottom, and I could go ahead and quickly add a new album and get to my next room. So we're going to create a new album for demo 2, save. It's going to take me to the new album. I can go ahead and grab a picture and then done, upload. And now that picture is going to be on its way to Dash. So now we'll go back and check that other album we uploaded 104 photos into. And what we'll see is that there's a picture of my wife and a cat. But we'll go ahead and refresh that, and you can see that all of these photos are now in Dash. You have the standard view here. I'll sort these oldest to newest so we can have some restoration-like pictures here. Now we're sorting oldest to newest, and you can see that there is the description here. The file name. This is big for Dash. For those that know Dash, you would see a not so pleasant file name existing here. We are now able to see a file name that inherits the album name followed by an underscore and the number. So in this case, it's demo 12. If I wanted to go edit this photo, I could tap the little pencil icon here and go edit that photo. So I can edit my description. I can go in and add tags. So this is a testing site, so some of these tags will be a little odd, but we can go ahead and say this is a kitchen. Even though it's not a kitchen, I can apply that tag. I can add a new tag from here if I wanted to. So if I want to say this is kitchen floor, maybe that's a tag. I could go ahead and add a new tag directly from there as well, and that tag will be saved for later. So I could use that on any other photos. I'll go ahead and apply those, and then I can apply that tag to all if I want to. And then I can also change my file name here. So if I don't want this to be demo 12, and maybe I want this to be inspection, I can apply that to all and save. And it's going to tell me you're changing a lot of photos here. Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I want to do that. And boom, just like that. Now those are labeled with those two tags, and we see our updated album name of now inspection _4 for this photo. And as we go down through there, you can see the inspection photos. We also now see that this has been run through the image analytics engine. So we see a lot more tags up top. What we'll see are these kitchen flooring, room, roof, mold, dining, document, semi-custom, custom. These are all from our image analytics engine, tagging these photos, letting us know kind of a little bit more about them. So if we wanted to filter down to one of these specific tags, like garage interior, we could do that, and it will filter down for me. We can see this is garage interior, fire. They may not have been a fire in here. We can go remove that tag, and then the two tags I applied to it when I applied all. This is the Memphis airport where I take a picture so I don't forget where I parked when I get back. If you don't prefer this view, you can also see, just remove this tag, so we can turn off the filter. There's also a view where you can kind of see these in a more granular way. So you can see a larger amount of photos at once from this type of page. Again, the sorting feature works, and then kind of moving to the next photo album there as well. But as you can see, this is a very quick process now. That was 104 photos uploaded into Dash, plus the one in the new album. And in the time of this call, those uploaded, processed, and went into the system and are also showing up in Dash. So that is our new photo solution. We're super excited to get this out to the market. Current scheduled launch date, it'll be here in the upcoming weeks and kind of the middle of May. So be on the lookout for this to hit the market. But yeah, any questions? I'm sure there's some up in the chat that we can maybe answer if we have time, or we can pick it up in the Q&A session at the end.
Let's add it to the Q&A session just so that we have time
Okay.
for the other demos, and then we'll circle back around.
Cool. So you should be seeing a survey pop up on your screen now with these two questions. How likely would you have been to recommend the Dash Mobile app before you saw this demo? And after seeing this mobile photo rebuild, how likely are you to recommend the app now? While that survey is running, we'll go ahead and show the next slide here as well. This QR code should take you to a job aid that will allow you to download the mobile photo beta if you do choose to. You can grab this and then share the link with your team. Again, we are taking all applicants now to the new mobile photo solution, and hopefully it will free up some of your technicians' time in the field as they work through documenting photos for a job.
Yeah, so for those of you that were asking in the Q&A, how do I get access to this? Go ahead and take a snapshot of that or use the code scanner directly. And that's exactly how you'll be able to do it. Whether you're on an iPhone or an Android, you will see that information. I'm going to go ahead and stop the poll. Let's see, we have 173 people have answered. I appreciate that. Let's end that poll and share some of those results. So prior to this, very likely or likely appreciate those into the 70s. But more importantly, the difference between not likely and what's not likely at the end, moving from 22% that not likely, but now only 5%. And that's exactly what we're hoping for. Really looking forward to the launch of this. We know that there's other opportunities within Dash Mobile, but this is a big one, and I hope that you all feel the impact just as much as we have been seeing. Stop
Absolutely.
sharing that.
And I will flash this screen up while we're waiting for introductions here. Next up, we'll have Mars. And Caitlin, do you want to introduce Mars?
Yeah, Mars is our product owner that oversees our CRM functionality. Like I said before, formerly known as Luxor, and I'll turn it over to Mars to share his screen.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, James and Caitlin, for the great introduction. That was an incredible demo, James. Really going to be tough to follow that. But as Caitlin has mentioned, my name is Martarius McLean. I'm the senior PM over CRM, formerly known as Luxor. So I will be your second favorite PM, followed by everyone else that's listed on this call today. With CRM over these last few months, I think one of the big things that a lot of you might have noticed is that we are definitely pushing a lot more innovation when it comes to marketing and campaign automation throughout CRM. While Jeff and his team have an incredible sales coaching and white glove experience around selling your business and products to your customers, one of the things that we definitely noticed is that we ourselves had been lacking when it comes to marketing functions and marketing automation. So we're attempting to try to resolve that with a slew of new features that you have seen over these last few months, which definitely includes your template builder, your target listing, your new email functions that are coming out, and those have all been routinely great as to how we have chosen to move our business forward with these new features. But one of the big things that we definitely notice is that there needs to be an emphasis on getting automation in and out of the application. Some of these functions that we have within the application have taken more clicks than people would definitely like for repeated functionality, such as always having to do 5 to 10 clicks when adding a new activity to a client that you've just spoken to, or doing 5 to 10 clicks to adding a brand new opportunity for a potential sale. These can be repetitive. And we have noticed that, and this is our attempt to solve that through a new function and feature that you guys have definitely heard over these last few months, which is our campaign automation, which allows for us to build a drip campaign function throughout automation opportunities for both sales and marketing within CRM to date. So what does that mean? That means that you're able to generate a cool little branching tree, similar to what you'll see here on the screen in a few moments, that allows for you to set and forget a lot of these specific functions that you often find repetitive. So if I set up a complete tree branch similar to what's something that you'll see here, it will allow for me to, once that contact meets the conditions, it will allow for that contact to follow through the set of automation parameters that I've set up using what could be described as if-then statements, meaning that if this contact does A, then the system will automatically do B and C for you. So if a contact brings in a new job opportunity, if they're a new referral on that job, then the system could automatically send out a pre-built template that thanks them and lets them know, like, hey, here's how we normally work. And then it might wait a few days to let them know, like, hey, we've sent you something else to do everything that you're doing. So you're automating these admin tasks that you actively have. So there's less data entry that you have to do. You're scheduling things a lot more faster, a lot sooner, and you're getting that engagement that you're definitely looking for. But what type of, but I'm sure you're asking, like, what type of relationship building does that ultimately mean for us? Well, that could mean the difference between a 80% increase in your time savings when it comes to adding in these automated tasks. So you're no longer having to sit there and click on adding in tasks and adding in activities and opportunities all day. It also could mean a 20% increase in uh, curated sales that come through, because we definitely know that as you begin to prospect to new clients, you with this campaign automation, we're actually seeing that lead nurturing actually sees a increase of about 20% of a prospected conversion. Even just one new sale a month could be an incredible accomplishment that ends up paying for itself at the end of the day. And right now, what I'll be doing is showcasing that. So one moment. Yeah. So sure you're all familiar with how Luxor looks and feels to date. And as I mentioned, we have those incredible new functions and features such as your template builder, which does have some AI and generative AI functions inside of it. You have your target listing, which allows for you to build lists based on different parameters that you've set according to your data, because we all know that data is king when it comes to a CRM tool. But one of the big things, like I said, is the campaign automation, which is where we'll be primarily focused here. So with this, is all ultimately a drag and drop function that allows for you to do multiple different assets and things with the different elements and how you choose to run your campaigns. So taking that scenario that I mentioned earlier is like, hey, we have a normal, let's say, a normal process that we walk through whenever someone sends us a new job. So based on that new job referral, I might also want to say, like, hey, with that new job, has a new job been referred? If yes, then I want to delay maybe a few moments or a few minutes, which this delay item allows for you to set what that delay will look like. So I'm going to say 2 hours for my set delay here. If a person adds in a new job, let's see, same day, that means ultimately today. If someone refers a job today to me after it runs through, then I'll delay and then I will add a task. That task could just be me following up with this person uh, as I normally do. And with that task, I'll say that the owner of that contact will be the one who receives it. Additional items, just say task scheduled, meet and due after, let's say that'll be due after 1 day, and I'll save that. But let's say that no one sent me a job today, then maybe I will send an email to everyone that's on that target list and ask them, why haven't you sent me any work today? And these templates are based around the templates that you have inside of the template builder. So you're pulling directly from there. I can set the contact owner as the from and reply to, or I can put in somebody specific in there as the CRM contact owner. And I'll send that email and I can wait for that. And then after that wait of a little bit of time, maybe I want to know who opened and closed that email. So was that email opened? If yes, do this. If no, do that. And you're going to see that a lot as to how all of this works. But once it's set up, again, you can set it and forget it. It allows for you to run this one time. So let's say all contacts will run through this entire workflow one time, or it can run continuously, meaning as long as they meet these parameters, they're going to continue to receive the emails and or notes or tasks that you set up and or activities that you set up around this campaign automation function. So what does that look like in practice? Well, for that job referral campaign that I just mentioned, it can look something similar to this. So it allows for me to add multiple activities. If those activities have been added, maybe it sends another email. Those activities then lead into opportunities that you can definitely add in as well, or just tasks to be completed if a person chooses to. So they can be as in-depth or deep as you want them to, or as shallow as you're looking for. And then once they're published, meaning that this is live, things are going to be moving forward. Once they are published, you will see something similar to this screen here. This is a published campaign, as you can see from the item that allows for you to publish and unpublish. You cannot modify details that are within a campaign that is already published, but you can see how every contact flows through the different steps of that workflow campaign. So I know that I have, I think, almost 100 different contacts within this campaign. So you'll see that Albert, this one contact who has his email and the company he works for, he's at the end item, which is all the way over here, and he's been there for 174 days, similar to Amanda. Andrew has been in the end state over here for 28 days. So it just really depends as to what you're looking for and how you're looking to get all of this done, and this detailed reporting that we're trying to show you as well. And that's mostly my end of the live demo for Luxor. But if I can, because I'm in charge right now and Caitlin can't stop me, you guys have also seen the brand new search function that's out there, right? We've removed those very, very ugly banners that took up a lot of space and allowed for us to get in this brand new search function that allows for cool little things to be done, such as me typing in 56 Central Way, and it brings up that company called 56 Central, which is Nichols Properties, but also brings up the contacts that are related to it and the jobs that you can find that have this direct address that I'm looking for. I can jump directly to that, and it also finds all that information directly there. I know I took a lot of time that was meant for Clark, but again, I do what I can while I can because I'm in charge right now. But that is the end of my demo directly related to Luxor and the campaign automation. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, angry outbursts, now is the time to put those in the chat. Let me know, or we can do it at the end of the QA. But one of the big things you definitely should know is that campaign automation is live right now, and it is free for everyone until June 30th. So make sure you sign up by going directly to the link in the QR code. You can sign up there. Someone from our team will contact you to make sure that you have access to all of the marketing functions that we've presented to you guys over the last few months, including campaign automation. And then you'll be able to play around with it, have just as good a time as I've had with you guys here today. So, as I mentioned, the questions, comments, concerns, maybe no angry outbursts, maybe not this time. I know, Clark, you are definitely looking for one. But yeah, that's me, Caitlin. What do we need?
Awesome. Thank you, Mars. Always appreciate the anger outbursts. That's a little fun that we have internally. So yeah, if you are interested in this at all, please go and test this out, play around with it. It's absolutely free. Not only is it launched, but it's free to use through the end of June. And that will go away in July. So go ahead and test that out now. Awesome. Let's switch it over to Clark. Mars, if you can stop your screen share, and we're going to switch it over to Clark. Clark's going to show you Restoration Mitigate.
Good afternoon, everybody. Very happy to have you all here. I've seen some familiar names in the list of participants, others first time I'm seeing you. So welcome aboard. Very happy to be presenting to you all today on Restoration Mitigate. As Caitlin mentioned, and as Mars mentioned, I'm Clark Hawkins. I try to avoid angry outbursts. I've had the distinct pleasure of working on a complete redesign of the Mika mobile app for the last couple of years. It has been through rigorous testing, both in alpha and beta testing. Your peers in the industry have had an opportunity to kick the tires on it as well over the past year, and it's a profound shift in setting the status quo for making a technician's life on a job site a lot easier. Historically, let me jump to the next slide. Apologies. So, historically, what Mika has been designed to do all these years. Next, please. There it goes. Is capture all of the relevant drawing information that you need to capture on a job site in order, A, to follow the standard of care, making sure that you're actually collecting your documentation on your drawing strategies, but B, to also substantiate your estimates that you're writing for your mitigation projects. And one of the thorns in the side of the industry for a long time is that, well, I'm told I have to use Mika, and my team doesn't like using Mika. It's not easy to use. It's clunky. It's obtuse, over the top, too much detail, too many options. Simplify this, right? So we set out to totally redesign Mika, and it coincided with our rebranding initiative. So I'm very pleased to present to you CoreLogic Restoration Mitigate. So we've taken all of the lessons we've learned over the years, all of the feedback we've heard from contractors over the years, as well as our own internal SMEs who have been in the industry for many years, including some very knowable names, industry titans, as well as feedback from all of you, which have contributed into Mitigate. So a few key notes about Mitigate. It was redesigning Mika from the ground up. So it's not just a fresh coat of paint. We've actually rebuilt it. So it is an entirely new mobile application that takes some of the core features and functionalities from Mika and expands on those. And it rights a few of the wrongs that I think that have popped up over the years, like the app feeling and behaving differently across different device types, right? So a singular code base for your technicians, whether you're on Apple or Android devices, with a streamlined user experience, a modernized user interface that kind of more closely resembles applications that you're familiar with using. When Mika emerged in the industry over 10 years ago, mobile apps were a different thing. Smartphones were a new addition to our toolkit. So we've introduced more modern principles of design that contribute to an overall easier to use experience for your technicians in the field, whether or not you're tech savvy, which I think is a cool thing. And I can't wait to jump into a live demo and show you just what I mean. So beyond that, a couple of other kind of key points, because the core documentation functionality in Mitigate that you're all interested in includes, how do I log my moisture point data? Historically, that's been a very tedious and time-consuming task. We've streamlined that. We've made it easier. We've made communicating where to place your moisture meter to collect readings as your teams shift and rotate and new technicians are going to a job site that's already been started. So making that whole process easier, improved flexibility and granularity on your atmospheric readings, notes and note organization, as well as photos and photo organization. So we left no stone unturned. We touched everything, and really excited to jump into a live demo to show you. One other comment on this slide, that last point that you can see there, improved syncing to the cloud. Historically with Mika, there was always the requirement for your technicians to kind of check the job back in to export that job file in order for the information to be updated in the cloud. We have introduced automatic background syncing. So while we maintain our offline functionality, so if there is no cell service or spotty signal, or if there's no Wi-Fi available, you're still able to document everything that you used to be able to in Mika in the Mitigate app, with the added benefit that if there is connectivity, that information is automatically syncing in the background as soon as it's saved in the mobile app, which is a huge game changer for everybody here. So with that said, let me skip over to the next slide and let me drag my mobile device over and start showing you guys some of the goodness that we've been working on. I have temporarily relocated my office space into my bedroom. So the reason I'm looking up is because I attached my TV to my computer. So I'm going to stop my camera because I'm going to be walking around a little bit. And I'm going to show you guys some things with Mitigate here, if I can get my cursor over. All right. Oh, I lost sorry. There it is. All right. So with the all new Mitigate app, and I've got quite a few things that I want to walk through and show you guys today. So it won't be as concise as James or Mars. So I hope you'll bear with me, and I hope I can keep you engaged here. So as you can see right from the get-go, a completely new UI for the Mitigate app. I can see here I've got my list of jobs. I'm going to jump into this job for Amy Jones. And we've completely redesigned and grounded users in the project in Mitigate, right? So I now have a job home screen. Instead of just being thrust into a workflow where I have to sequentially just know that I got to do dates, and then I got to do forms, and then I got to do this and that, we've made it easier and more scalable so that no matter how complex or simple the job is, you know exactly what you need to do. We've introduced a task list so that if I'm just starting a new job, I can just go to that task list and it'll tell me what I need to do next in order to have a fully documented job. So in this case, it's a brand new job. It's telling me add a drying chamber. So I can follow along with those tasks. As I add more documentation, more tasks will appear. And I'll demonstrate that in a little more detail first. But I do want to highlight one of the coolest things that I think I've ever seen in my product management career so far, which lends itself obviously to just the advancement of technology in general, but also credence to the team behind Mitigate for all their excellent work. We are happy to show you guys today. Can you guys still see my screen? Yes. Happy to show you guys today the new floor plan tool in Mitigate. So what I'm going to do is on the floor plan card that you see there, I've got two icons. One is a square, a two-dimensional square that will take me to my two-dimensional sketch. The other is a 3D square that takes me into my room scanning tool. So I'll receive a prompt that I should scan one room at a time and turn on all the lights for better performance. I'll indicate what room I'm scanning. So in this case, I'll be starting with my master bedroom. It'll launch your camera and you can start moving the device around to calibrate and point the camera at the bottom edge of the wall and quickly walk through my room. And you can see I couldn't help myself. I had the TV there and I said, I'm plugging my computer into this thing. But as I walk through this room, the Mitigate Scanner tool is capturing all of the dimensions of this room. You can see that by the reactive lines. I'll just do another sweep to make sure I've got everything. Captures doors, captures windows, etc. Now I'll tap done. And I want to scan another room. So I'm going to choose scan another room. And I'll choose master bathroom. If the room type wasn't listed here, I can give it a custom name there at the bottom. I'll tap continue. And now I can start scanning the bathroom. And you can see, hopefully, I am speaking way faster than what my screencasting is, how it is performing. So I will slow down a little bit so that I give that an opportunity to catch up. And I'll finish scanning the bathroom. So I apologize about that. Sometimes the screen mirroring slows down when I am walking through the property. So as you can see, I'll speak to it as it's going. All those reactive lines are capturing those dimensions using LiDAR that is natively in iOS devices from the iPhone 12 Pro or Pro Max and newer. So you can see here, I've completed the scan of the master bedroom. I'll tap scan another room, choose the master bathroom, and tap continue. And now I can scan the bathroom. So I will do that. And small bathroom, so this will go pretty quickly. There is some lag because of the screen mirroring, so I apologize. But you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's actually rendering in 3D. The space that you are scanning. You'll be prompted if you're too close to a wall to move further away, that sort of thing. And once you have completed this, and it seems like it's going in slow motion because it is, because there's some lag here. So that's good. You can see how the lines actually react and show you what you're capturing. And then once you've completed scanning a room, you can tap done. And you will be taken directly into the 2D sketch in the Mitigate application. Which I will tap done now. So Mitigate does a couple of interesting things through that room scanning tool. One of the things that it does is you instantly have your two-dimensional sketch. It is also stitching together the rooms so that you have a complete sketch. If I needed to scan additional rooms at this point, I could launch the scanning session again and do those additional rooms. So I don't have to do it all at once. I can do one room at a time. I can do multiple rooms at a time. And I can break it out how I see fit. So there's a lot of flexibility there. You can see it does label those rooms and it has captured those dimensions. If I tap on one of these rooms, I might need to reset my screen sharing thing because it seems like there's a lot of lag here. I do apologize about that. I'm going to just redo my screencasting. Give me one moment. I apologize. That should work better. So when I tap into a room, I can see the dimensions that have been captured. A common question that comes up around accuracy for any scanning tool is, what if it's a couple of inches off or something like that? So Mitigate does include a calibrate mode, so that if it so happens that the dimensions that it captured are slightly off. Let's say that the wall that's measuring there 15 feet 3 inches was actually 15 feet 6 inches. You can tap on that wall and update the measurements, and all of the walls of that sketch will calibrate to accommodate that update, right? So you retain the shape with the updated dimensions. So that is room scanning, huge game changer. Historically, sketching was only available on iPad and Android tablet. Now you can sketch on phones. And not only that, but you can do it 4 times faster just by walking through the property and opening your camera for LiDAR-enabled devices. LiDAR, unfortunately, isn't equipped on Android devices, so manual sketching is the way to go if you are on Android. We have plans in the future that I won't speak to into great detail here, but for future opportunities around partnerships and things for devices that do not support LiDAR or they do not have the hardware to support LiDAR. So I'll save that sketch. We're just at the starting point here of all of the goodness that I'd like to show you guys in Mitigate. I don't want to eat up too much of our time. So I will jump to a job that has some data already filled out in it. So you can see my task list here. As a technician, I have arrived at the job site and I want to see what I need to do today. What readings do I need to collect? And I can just jump directly into those readings by tapping the task and inputting my reading for that day. So as I mentioned, every screen, every process in Mitigate has been completely redesigned. This is a preview of what the project looks like. If I scroll through it, I have a summary of my atmospherics, my moisture content, and my equipment application. And yeah, I will stop there in the interest of time. I know we're coming up against it. If you would like to see more, please let us know. One other thing, sorry, because I have another slide. We have a survey to share. What would be the biggest game changer for your business if it was a feature in Mitigate? And I will ask that again because my camera wasn't on, so I can look you in the eyes and ask you, what would be the biggest game changer if it was a feature in Mitigate? Think about it. It might not be totally obvious to you. Maybe you haven't given it a lot of thought before, considering Mitigate is still in beta and you maybe haven't even used it yet. But we'd like to know, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
What's interesting as I'm watching these answers come through is that it's pretty split between all of these. Like almost the exact same numbers across the board. The one that's maybe, okay, I won't say it yet because I don't want to skew anybody's thoughts, but we'll give it just another maybe 15 seconds for folks to answer. Again, as you're thinking through this, like I said before, we really do appreciate the feedback. We are starting to look at, of course, we're working on getting Mitigate out the door, but that's coming up very shortly. So we're really starting to look at what's next and where do we go from here? How can we continue to innovate, and love all of your information to help us figure that out. All right. Looks like the answers have slowed down. So let me end the poll and I'll share the results so everybody can see. Like I said, pretty split at 72, 71. Sorry, in percentages, 33%, 32%, 29%, 32% across 4 of them. The only one that's kind of snuck ahead a bit in 46% is documentation for other job types, which is pretty amazing. So to me, that sounds like y'all are excited about this in general and looking for more opportunities across the board, which we love and will continue to do. All right, let me stop sharing that. I'm not sure who has screen share at this point. Is it Clark?
Yeah, I do. I'll
Will you go to the
continue.
next slide? Do you want to talk about this one too, Clark?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Didn't realize that was on my deck. Sorry about that. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we have been running a beta program for the Mitigate app for the last about 6 months. If you would like to participate in the beta, if you're not already involved in it, please complete this survey. And someone from our team will reach out to you on information on how to join it. We would love to hear all of the feedback that you have. So join now while it's still in beta, because we'll be releasing it soon. So you could say you were involved in the beta and the creation of the app, and your voice was influential to it. So please let us know.
And for those of you who may have been involved earlier on, thank you very much for sticking with us. There's a reason that we do very limited betas to start and then open it up towards the end. And your information, your feedback was so influential. We're really excited about the launch of this and all of the tools that you saw here today. There's been a ton of questions coming through we've answered over 50, and I think there's 50 more that have just popped through. So we will do our best to start to circle back around and answer those toward maybe offline. But as we said, like, go ahead and if you're interested in that beta, let us know. Just quick closing and feedback. If you want to go to the next slide, Clark. As I mentioned before, Interconnect is another place where we do talk a lot about these opportunities. In fact, at Interconnect, there was another opportunity for folks to join a number of these betas. So if you're really interested, if you liked what you heard today, I do strongly suggest that you join us in LA January 13th through 16th of 2025. It is an event to be remembered, and more importantly, it's tons of fun, and we get to chat with all of you and actually face to face, which I think I personally have missed. So it's nice to be able to talk to all of you. All right, can you go to the next slide? And hopefully you felt this throughout, especially as we're talking about feedback. But your client experience is exactly what drives us and moves us forward. Understanding that experience is not only centered to everything we do, but absolutely critical for us to build applications and features that make sense for all of you. So for anyone that's been part of these betas to date, thank you. We really appreciate it. For anyone that's interested in being part of these betas, and or even having folks like those of us that spoke today out at your location and shadowing you. We do a number of those opportunities as well. So that client experience is critical to everything we do. And then if just one more slide, I believe. Last but not least, thank you to everybody that joined. I know we're right at the end of the time, so I won't keep all of you. And like I said, we will answer those questions offline. If you do ever need to contact product management, you do have our email address there. You can always do so. If it is a support question, note that we will send you over to support. But if you do have questions about, the product itself, and we're happy to answer those things. We like to be able to chat. If there's not any other closing words, we'll see you all next time. Hopefully we'll get to do this again. And thank you again for everyone that joined.